found up here, they've blamed the FDIC for so many of their problems. So many people up here are blamers. They are not responsible. They are not accountable. And that's the only way they can survive. And that's bad, because that is just continually transferred, generation after generation. The way the city operates, it just, nothing ever gets better unless something drastic happens. And basically that's what's going to happen. So anyway, the other thing I was going to say was that I found out this even after, right around, I suppose, in 2000 sometime. This was after I found out that the sanitation scam had been, when they hid from me my ability to get on, or kept it from me. I also found out about the year 2000 that in the fall of 1991, before I ever even came to Grand County, that this plan to put this concrete plant was already going into place. And I didn't know about this until 2000. But in 1991 in the fall, Gus Harris and Cody Docha and the powers that be, the Thompsons' motivation was to get rid of Cody because he was just a pig and such a little man complex. This guy was, he's Mr. Napoleon all the way, in the worst way. The guy just couldn't deal with the fact that he was little. And it definitely depraved him, man. The guy is really psychological, needs some psychological help. But anyway, they had gone to the town and rezoned Gus Harris's two acres, which is directly south of my muffler shop. They did this under protest, which is in the minutes, from the owner of the Broken Arrow Motel, which was straight south of where the project was where the rezoning was. And I don't know if he didn't know it, or if they were counting on the public to be stupid, or if they were counting on the fact that nobody had any money that they'd be able to protest this in court. But the town went and spot zoned the 2 acres directly south of me, which was illegal in Colorado. They had changed the HGB zoning on that 2 acres to industrial. And because no one protested it within 30 days, it became law that they could do that. And therein lies a big problem. When I came along and, inadvertently bought this 2 acres, their plans were that Cody was going to buy this 2 acres and he'd go to the town and convert it to industrial, because now it adjoined industrial property that they had approved already. So now it was no longer spot zoning, but, approving it next to industrial zoning, and would be, they were going to get away with it. And they were going to be able to put this concrete plant right there next to all those houses downwind of the town, so that the town would end up getting all this dust again. And that they had the concrete on the north side of the County Road 612, and the neighbors, they just hated it up there. But now they were going to just do it all over again. And the main reason was Cody's motivation for doing it in 91 was because of water, I believe. His main reason in doing it in 2000 or 99 or whatever it was to get back at Mark. It wasn't water anymore. He didn't get the message. And that message, again, I say, is, God was telling those people. I didn't know these people. Out of the blue, here I am buying this property with no malice towards anyone. Why didn't they get the message that they should not have put the concrete plant in town ever? Very subtle. This is just normal competition. You go to an auction and somebody outbids you. He would have been mad at anybody. Cody would have been mad at anybody who would have bought the property. Anybody. But you got to go there with enough money. Otherwise, you're the problem. It's your fault that this happened, not mine. You know, you can blame me all you want. You can blame the FDIC. That isn't the problem. You have got to learn to get over it and move on. But no, you sat there and plotted with the Thompsons to keep me down, to not allow me onto the water and sewer district, to not sell me that property, to sell it to Cody, to do this stuff, and to get even with me. You developed malice towards me. I never had any malice towards you. Like I said, I tried to sell Cody the property the day I bought it in the spring of '92. I tried to sell it to him in '97 for $250,000. In '99, I had another appraisal done. Tried to sell it to him then for the appraisal price of $395,000. Wilson did this again, this reappraisal. He still would not come to me with a counteroffer. How many times do you have to try to deal with the man? I mean, we had talked about this. These were 3 formal times, as far as I'm concerned. You know, there were many other times when he had, we had a chance to discuss it. Come on, Cody, buy the property. We didn't discuss any price or anything, but come on, Cody, be reasonable. But that's what you cannot do with people in the mountains, especially in Granby. They do not know what reason is. Reason to them is doing it their way. And that's the only thing. Once they get that in their mind, that's the only thing that's reasonable. Well, I've developed that philosophy to a point, maybe even to a higher point, because I am going to be unreasonable to the extent that although they've probably cost me $500,000 or more, I know it's been more. I can make it easily $300,000. And that's based on my figures. My bookkeeper, who was Mark Krieg, felt that it cost me $500,000. My accountant, Dave Patner, in Granby, both these people are in Granby, felt that it cost me $1,000 for what the town had done to me, what the Thompsons had done to me, what the Dochests had done to me, and what the sanitation district had done to me. That is a lot of money. And that is more money than any man should bear to lose or to not make, or however you want to look at it. I want to say right now, if I would have been married, had a family, things may have gone different. But God built me for this job. He rewarded me for 45, 50 years with the lifestyle that I am so thankful for. And it's unfortunate, the poor people in Granby, so many of them were so jealous of my lifestyle that I could come and go as I pleased. Well, God blessed me in advance for the task that I am about to undertake. And I've tossed this, I have fought this for years now. Here it is, 2004, April of 2004. It was sometime in 2001, I believe. And I'm 6. 2000 or 2001. That the peace, I wept at times trying to understand why this was happening to me. And to do what I had to do to make these people listen, to learn, was just above me. And when I realized that one day, when I was sitting in the hot tub, and I was weeping, a peace came over me that has only come over me a few times before in my life, where I knew that what I was doing was tough, but it was the right thing, and that it was above me. It wasn't me. I was doing this because God wanted me to do it. And I didn't understand it. I said, why did you ask me to do this? Is that why I've never been married, so I didn't have a family? Is that why I've always been successful, so that I would realize my reward before doing this task? I don't know. There are other things I can ask. Had I not carried my cross earlier, And now God had prepared me to carry this cross? I believe so. And I'm carrying the cross willingly now. At first, I fought it. But it has to be done. And the world will write stories about how wrong I am and everything. And without a doubt, I wished it could be done a different way. But there is no way to make this right. I spent one day here in the spring of 2003. The Thompson brothers were down below my house here in Grand Lake, digging a foundation for a house. One day, I happened to go out the driveway. Larry Thompson was standing out by his truck by himself, so I drove up to him and had a few words with him. And basically what I told him was that, you know, Larry, I actually called him Ron first. He says, Ron's dead. And I says, I'm sorry, Larry. And I says, but listen, maybe it's good that Ron's dead. Because, no, it isn't, he said. And I says, well, about in 1992, your family made some decisions that financially affected my life for the rest of my life. And I can't afford it. And it cost me at least a minimum of $300,000. And I says, you need to pay me. He says, what are you talking about? I basically told him, I said, don't play ignorant with me. And he shut right up. He says, you know what I'm talking about. I says, you made that